Bonjour, ni hao.
Welcome back to the Gaymeboyz channel.
I'm Johnny.
And I'm Tim. And today we're going to say the 10 things we wish we knew before we went to Disneyland Paris. So if you don't know, we just got back from Disneyland Paris at the end of April. We went for almost a full week. Our haul should probably be posted, so it will be listed above and below, so be sure to check that out. We are both wearing things we got in Paris, which I guess could be our number 10. These are not in any order, just things that we've kind of seen when we were there. So 10 is going to be merchandise. Excluding pins. So, we did not know, because we kind of thought like the sizing in clothing might be a little off, because they do their sizes differently over there. But we did find out their spare jerseys are the same sizes that are in America. But we did not know that they only carry up to size XL. So they don't have 2X, they don't have 3X. In spare jerseys, sweatshirts, or unisex t-shirts. We did not look at women's clothing, obviously, so I don't know if maybe some of the women's cut tees have different sizes. I would think no. But yeah, we were so surprised because, I mean, I could fit into an extra large spare jersey. I sometimes do 2X because I like them super, super baggy. But knowing that wasn't an option was kind of weird to us.
Right? Yeah, it was just different. And it was something that no one ever talked about before.
Yeah. We didn't ask if there was more in the back, but we're
why would they secretly not? We wouldn't see them anywhere.
Yeah, but literally every single store, whether it be in the parks, in the resorts, XL was the biggest size, so that was something we were whoa, that's wild. So that's something to look out for. Another thing with merchandise we discovered was they do not have ornaments anywhere. We're the kind of people that always get ornaments as souvenirs for our trips.
And there was nothing. There was one store inside of the Disneyland Paris castle that we saw when we were doing the walkthrough, and we were like, oh, we should go back to the Christmas store at some time. And we did at early evening and on our last day, and it was closed. And we were so mad. And I was like, we could have gone earlier, but we didn't. We made this choice. But who then expects a store to close so early? And so it's just... But... Again, we didn't know these things, and if we had known that the store would have had special hours...
Yeah, we didn't know, they wouldn't be everywhere. We don't know if it's like that for, around Christmas time, if they do stock them other places, but...
But generally, I think that they had less merchandise. They had less Loungeflies. I barely saw, the ear collection that we have in the United States of, the number of ears.
They only have, I think, their exclusives and maybe a couple... trickle in similar.
I don't think I saw any ear hats or any of those goofy hats, right?
They wear hats. I've seen a lot of the hats, and then some with the droopy ears.
Oh, they did love the things with the little ears that you squeeze. They did have those. Yeah. But generally all of the stores were smaller. There's just the selection was smaller.
And a lot of stuff was for kids.
Yeah.
Especially in Springs or wherever Fantasy, whatever the heck it's called.
Village. The Disney Village.
Disney Village, which is their Disney Springs or Downtown Disney. Yeah. But their World of Disney had more stuff for us, which is where we found a lot of the spare jerseys and stuff. But it was just crazy how different
stuff is merchandise. It's just we're used to seeing a gift shop every second, and it just felt like there was not as much to buy. So I was just oh, I don't feel bad buying what I want because I feel like I'm still not spending as much as I normally would have anywhere else.
Okay, number 9. It's merchandise, but it fits in its own category because there's so many pin collectors. It's just wild to us. So first, we will say they do not have mystery pins. Like no blind bags, no boxes.
No, like mini pouches, not even like the little like cast member ones.
No.
There is not a mystery pin to be found anywhere.
And they don't even have the ones that, what was I trying to say?
That American parks have?
Yeah, like they don't have the ones that like are, oh, you could find them anywhere in the parks. Like nothing. Zip. It was wild.
Zip.
And then limited edition pins are not sold in any stores but one store. And you need a park ticket to buy them. So it's only in Disneyland Park. And it's only in this store in Frontierland.
And it's not open every day.
No, it's open one day a week.
So weird.
Like, it was open before daily, I think, before the pandemic, but then they changed it. So when we were there, it's only open one day a week, which is Saturdays. And if you want an actual limited edition pin that drops that day, you have to arrive as soon as the park opens, like a big line forms. And then they do like this lottery system for people to get like
eligible to be like a purchase
their
a
place
pin.
in line. And then after that all is situated, they let the people in line go in next. And then throughout the day, I don't remember what time they're open till, but they kind of let anyone else go in. But by that time, all the LE pins are sold out because when we went, there was a personal shopper literally buying, they had like packages of 10, and he's like, could I get 4 packages of the 10s? So 40 pins of this one pin, and like they were just doing it. Like,
It was
no
like
questions
40
asked.
pins. Like he was just taking, and they weren't even wrapped. They were just like, as they're delivered, like in like the tissue paper and like tape around them. And he's like just taking like packs of 10 pins at a time. And I was like, what is happening?
Right? So when we were there, it was around like 11 noon, something like that. So we didn't even like care that those 2 LE pins that released when we were there were sold out because there weren't ones we collect. But there still was like 1 or 2 LE pins from like previous weeks available. One being the Tarzan one, which we picked up for a friend. And then there weren't any other ones that we saw, but they do have the most pins in the park. Like they do have open edition pins everywhere that the merch is sold, like in the resorts, in the parks. But they have the biggest selection of open edition pins that like you don't see in every store, like in that store. I need to put the name. We'll put the name on the screen. I forget what it's called. But yeah, it was like when we saw that, we're like, oh my god, we need that pin, we need that pin.
And that's the other thing that you should know is that like it's there were like 2 entrances, and there's like the main front entrance and there's like this side door. There were a bunch of people near the front, and it's like on pin trading day when the stores open, like all of the pin trader people come with their like portfolios and their suitcases. And I will say this with full understanding that we are pin collectors. So I just don't like engaging with those pin people because they're always like, it doesn't always feel like a fair trade. Like, it just feels like you're always never good enough for them, and they're always just judging you and your lack of good pins, and I don't engage with that community. So, there was a long line. So then I'm like, I don't want to be there, so let's go around this side door. So we get to this side door, and there was this girl waiting because she had a return and was, like, complaining about something. There was the Mr. Pins guy with his backpack up and just shoveling them in there. And so we got behind him. As soon as we did that, more people came in from that front section and like got us to a line. I was like, oh, thank goodness we got in when we did. But then, because of the process, it's 2 cashiers or attendants, cast members, that were pulling the pins for you. So you don't get to touch the pins.
Yeah,
you don't get to look at
they're
the
behind
pins.
the counter.
And they're not behind glass, but they're still behind a wall. And so if you have bad vision like me, you're like, huh? Who? Huh? Thankfully, our cast member was really good about knowing who characters were, and Tim did it very systematically of like going row by row and being like, can we get that Marie, that one? And so he was really good and knew who we were referencing. But between us doing that and also trying to be like, can we get a close-up? It's almost like a live sale with a personal shopper. You're like, can I get a close-up of whatever that like third column is? Like who is that? It would have taken a really long time, so I'm glad that we got him when we did, because Mr. Backpack was like, well, I guess I'll be back in a few hours for the rest. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, he was obnoxious.
And so...
And then another thing is, you can pin trade. We only saw one board, and it was in...
the entrance of studios.
Yeah, studios. They have like a big board, and then you could pin trade whatever. And then we saw some cast members with lanyards, very few. And then, of course, the ones at the pin store were wearing lanyards. So if you want to pin trade, it's not as easy as it is in the U.S. parks. We didn't even bother because...
Well, we also did a really quick look at the boards, and we were able to say, like, scrappers.
Yeah, it's mostly, like, American pins on
Which is fascinating!
Yeah, which is weird.
Like, where do they get all this inventory from if they don't sell them there? Like, where do they get them from?
I don't know.
It's so crazy. Oh, the other thing, one last thing I'll say about pins was because pins aren't, like, as collected there, the prices were far more reasonable. Most pins were between $10 to $15, or $9 to $15. All of them were. And that is so crazy. Because I was just like, well, looking at these totals, I'm like, oh, I guess if you take out like the 5-pack, that's like $40. And like the pin box of $30. I was like, yeah, it's weird. It was so weird.
Yeah. Alright, number 8 is your receipts. Be sure to save all of your receipts, because Johnny found you can get money back somehow. He could explain it. I don't know that.
Timeline, receipts, right?
Receipts, proof, timeline, screenshot.
So on the Disneyland app, when you scroll through, one of the things that they say is like, save your receipts and do this thing. So I was like, this can't be that easy. So because we're American shoppers traveling in Europe, we get a refund of the VAT tax, the VAT tax. I learned through my submission of the receipts that VAT tax only applies on merchandise and not food. I tried to put some of the food receipts in, and like during the app was like, nope, that's food. You can't claim that. Do you know that's food? I'm like, oh, I did. So the app that Disney tells you to use is Skip Tax. And Skip Tax is a great app. As you can see, I did mine 5 days ago, and you can see that we got back $200-something, $230. So with 9 receipts. So what's really great about our trip is that we only went to Disneyland Paris. We were at the airport, we took the airport Magical Express, because we booked that bus ticket, got to the parks, and then did the same thing in reverse. So we didn't have to worry about asking to break out the VAT tax separately, because in most retailers, you need to actually get a special receipt. However, because we're at Disneyland, they have Paris, they have a deal with them, or a thing. So literally all I had to do was save all my receipts. All of the receipts on the bottom have a VAT tax line item. So what you do is just any app, you scan the receipt, it picked up all of the data, you just confirmed what the numbers was, and as you can see, I added 9 receipts and I put it in my PayPal. And so when we got to the airport, there were kiosks in every terminal, and you had to do this before we checked our bags, because this was important. You have to scan your barcode before, if you have stuff in luggage, because should customs officials want to see it, you have to be able to provide it. So I was like, okay, we'll scan the barcode. Luckily, they said it was green, it was fine, and literally within 5 seconds, I got a notification that says, congratulations, your refund has been approved, your PayPal refund will be deposited, and I think we got back the next 2 days later, I had it to my PayPal. So it was super easy. Again, being part of Disneyland Paris, they already break it out on every receipt for you, because I think they know people are international tourists, so most everyone will need that. And so it was super easy. I do think, in Tim's point about being organized, there may have been a couple of receipts that ended up in bags that we never pulled out when we were leaving, so we might have left some money on the table, which is fine because we still got back like 2:30.
Yeah.
But do it, because otherwise, like, they're just taking your money. But I literally was at the last night. It maybe took like 30 minutes to do it all, but I was just sitting on the bed, just being like, scanning and like moving. I felt like I was at work doing my like invoices for like billing. I was like, I got this.
All right, number 7 is do your research with hotels. So there are value resorts there, and then there are like just like.
It's the tiered system. There's the luxury resort, which is like the Disneyland Paris.
Yeah, there is. We stayed at one that I didn't know was a value. If it was, I would have said definitely not, because we don't love value resorts.
It's considered moderate, though, I think.
I don't know, but there's one that is a value that is the one next to us. It was the Cars Land
Santa Fe.
one. Yeah, it's called Santa Fe. So. If you did not know, they do not have air conditioning. So be sure to like do your research, because we could not stay at a place that did not have air conditioning.
So that's why we
get
picked,
so hot.
So that's why we picked Cheyenne, because like it was confirmed that they're like the only ones with like unit air conditioning. So it's like air conditioning.
Well, not the only ones.
No, but like those of that tier. Because we wanted to stay on property, but we necessarily didn't want to stay at like the off-site value resorts that are like kind of farther away. We were still in the lagoon of like the 2 Santa Fe, Cheyenne. Then there's New York. There's the equivalent of Fort Wilderness Lodge. Forgive me if I'll insert the name. And then there's the equivalent of Boardwalk. And so those resorts together, separate from the Disneyland hotel attached to the park, that's the resorts in the compound. New York being the newest one.
What we should have done is saved more and stayed at the Disneyland Paris.
Well, yes.
The Disneyland
But
hotel.
now we know that for Tokyo, Shanghai.
Because Cheyenne was fine. It just wasn't. They said it was 2 beds, which, I mean, it really wasn't. It was like 1 twin bed, or not twin.
Full.
1 full bed, and then one was like
a trundle bed that
couch.
rose up.
So like underneath the couch bed, whatever you call that. But like, it just wasn't what we were expecting.
I think it's been this full disclosure. Like Tim and I normally, when we've been at World, we stayed at Coronado. When we stayed in Land Now, we just stayed at the Pixar Place Hotel. We've discovered that we enjoy properties differently. It's been a really long time since we've stayed like in an All Stars movie, right? And
yeah, because we don't do. I know there was certain meal plan things with certain hotels as well. So if that's something you guys are interested in, be sure to look at the ones that offer it, because they don't all offer it.
That's the other thing. Dining in the resorts is also really different. Whereas like the American resorts of value have like that food court. Like that's not a thing.
They don't have
like
that.
That's like dining is such a different.
It's just restaurants.
Yeah,
and then you need reservations. So the app is going to be your best friend. It's actually quite easy, especially looking for food. If it's not like a quick service. But we'll get into a food in a different number.
The only other thing I'll say about resorts is that it was nice staying on the compound. We were at the...
And they don't have pools.
Oh yeah, that is... Maybe it's like a weather thing. We were thankfully in the building that was in Cheyenne that was closest to the little walkway that took you in front of New York around the water, like the little lagoon, through Disney Village and into the parks. From our door... that was at the farthest end of the resort. To get to New York was probably maybe a 5-minute walk. And then it was about 10 minutes through the village because they're doing a lot of construction. So from our hotel, it was about a 15-minute walk, which wasn't too bad. I mean, it's that end of the night thing where you're like, oh, I'm so tired, like I just want to be home. And it was closer.
But it was still much better than World's.
Everything.
Getting home at World is awful.
It just makes you like want to just crawl into a thing.
So that leads us into number 6, which is security. It's so easy if you're staying on property because you only have to do it once. So it's like you walk through your hotel into the Disney Springs shopping area, whatever that's called again, Fantasy something.
Village.
Yeah, so you only go through once, and it's really, really nice. World needs to adapt this system. If you have a bag, you literally just put it through the conveyor, like
it's
X-ray.
like airport security.
Yeah.
You
don't have to open it. It just goes right through.
You don't have the magnetrons. I mean, you still have the magnetron arches, but Disney, where you have the guy at the kiosk, it's like, come through, line. Like, everyone just puts the stuff on the security, it zooms through,
so
you walk
fast.
through. It was so easy.
You don't have to do it again to get in the park.
I never had to open my bag. No one ever needed to look at my
nice.
water bottles like they do. I didn't have to unpack everything and hear someone's story.
Yeah, so, and then, like, after security, it's like you're flat out in the Disney Springs, Fantasy Springs, whatever it is. Again, I forget the name. But then, like, there's all the restaurants and shopping, and then, like, you go through that, and then it's like the Disneyland is on one side, and then the studios is on the other. So it's, like, so easy.
Disney Village is working on their security because two of the restaurants, for some odd reason, are outside of the security line. So if you want to go to the security line, you have to, like, go out of security, do it again just to get back in. It's a really weird... Like, they need to fix some of their security in Village, though. Because remember when we went to Five Guys? We had to go through security just to then go back through another security to go through it all again.
And then we had to be like, it's food, so we don't want to put it through the, like...
conveyor belt.
The X-ray thing. And then she's like, oh yeah, that's fine, just put it on. So that's like, that was one of our easiest ones. So number 5 is parades. So there's only one parade in Disneyland, and it only happens one time a day. So like, the first couple of days we wanted to sleep in because we were jet lagged, so like we weren't getting to the parks till like maybe like 12 or 1. And then we're like, oh, we'll just catch the parade like when it comes.
The
back.
3 o'clock or 2 o'clock parade that normally happens.
Only happens once a day at 11:30 a.m. So like, if you are looking at the app, like after 11:30, it just says like the name of the parade. It doesn't say like next time. It doesn't say like anything. So we're like, oh, it'll probably just happen. We'll have to Google it like when the next one is. But literally, we had to get up like super early one day.
It's early for us.
Yeah, to make sure we saw the parade. Because I mean, again, if it's raining, they cancel the parade. There's no parade that day.
So shows and parades in general at Disneyland Paris are just highly coveted, like, attractions. Like, the timeliness that, like, I'm used to just being like, oh, 6:45 show, I'll stroll up at 6:40, right, and still, like, just sneak on it. No, like, these people set up, they, like, plan, they go, they get ready. So we got our parade spot right as everyone was really locking in. Like, we were, like, 5 minutes ahead of the curve, which was, like, maybe an hour earlier, 30 minutes?
We were, like, 45
minutes before.
So shows do book up very quickly as well. So like we got to studios around 6, and then the show is at 6:45. So we're like, oh, we have time to ride the Tower of Terror. So like perfect, whatever. And then it was like longer of a line, so like we got right to the thing at 6:40. And she's like, oh no, we're closing the doors, like you can't go in. And we're like, what the heck? It was kind of annoying, but we saw the show like a different day. So like, be sure to look on the app for times and always try to arrive at least like 30 minutes early to get good seats, because they do, I guess they don't do it by like arrival, but you could kind of squeeze your way in front, like, kind of thing. And then those other ones were messes. The shows that are, like, not indoors.
Oh, like the Goofy thing?
Or
no, the music festival shows.
No, the Rapunzel and Moana show.
Oh yeah, so we went.
Awful.
So we went the Celebration of Music, or what it's called, Music Fan Fest, or it's the name of the
music festival.
Yes, it is the music festival, and the Disneyland Paris Disney Music Festival, and so. It is happening right now. So they have these like little, I would say like pop-up performances, but they like advertise them and like schedule them. So they're pop-ups, but they're like specific, which means because shows are such a thing, people like crowd them. But you can tell that they weren't, whoever designed them like didn't think that many people would come and think it would just be more like a walk-by thing. But people were crowding these very small areas.
But they're like in nooks too, so it's like
so weird.
We were 20 minutes early, so we're like, oh, this is perfect, we'll stand there. And then like there were so many people in front of us, there was no way we were going to be able to see, so we're like, okay, we'll just try for a different time. So then we came back 30 minutes and there was still a line like that time, so we just stayed. And then like people have their kids on their shoulders, so it's like we couldn't see anything, but like a lot of people were leaving because of that, so he weaseled his way into like.
Here's what I learned about these things. You find where there's something in front of you. So if there's
I'm
like
tall and I still had a trouble.
So like if there's like a court, like a guarded off like little like planter area, stand right in front of the planter because no one's gonna be in front of you except until the 3 feet away that the next thing was. And so it happened to be that they were on the other side. So it gave me a little bit more, and I'm short, so like I'm always just like trying to do this and and then I watched it and I was like, oh, it's. I think people were leaving because they saw what it was, and they were like, "Oh, this is it."
Yeah, I mean, it was cute.
They were cute, but
it was more for kids. Like they brought the kids up to dance and stuff in both of the shows.
Because we walked by, there was a Rapunzel one we saw. We walked by the Coco one. There was the Moana one. I don't think I ever saw another music festival one.
No, we didn't really care about the outside shows as much. The inside ones were like kind of more. They had the Lion King show. They had like a PhilharMagic type thing. They had like a. Oh man, we were so upset. They had this Together Pixar musical, which the day before we got there, they decided,
it's on hiatus until July or June.
Yeah, they go on a stupid month-long break. And, like, we were so excited because Lotso was in that show. And, like, we watched a little bit of clips and, like, you could film. There was
a projection wall. It looked really cool. There
was, a bunch of different music.
There's a cast recording.
Almost every Pixar, like, movie is represented in the characters and stuff. It looked so good, and we weren't able to see it.
Oh, there was one more music festival performance. We found the Viva la Musique at the restaurant when Chip and Dale were dancing at the DJ. Mm-hmm. They wrote a song specifically for the music festival, Viva la Musique, that I fell in love with because it was on repeat everywhere you walked.
The music festival isn't as good as, like, Disneyland's version.
Of, like, Pixar Fest?
Yeah.
No, by no means was it as good.
But, like, we don't know other fests or... Like, obviously we were only there during that time, so we can't speak on that, but if you're gonna think that you're planning a trip just for the Music Fest, I would say don't. Alright, so number 4 is fireworks and drone show. So, like, if we found out that, like, if there is a rain or they have to close it, you don't get the refund, right, for booking it. Mm-hmm. So like it's always a chance to book it, but like to get your own like personal seating, or not personal, but you're in front
the reserved
of the
viewing area. When we booked our trip, there's add-ons that you can add on, like PhotoPass you can add on. We'll talk about that momentarily, but we also added on Prime reserved seating for the nighttime show, because I was saying that I love a nighttime show. If done correctly, it makes me cry. I've never seen it with drones, and I want to see projections. Because also, the Disneyland Paris show is really cool because of the way they built their castle. In addition to having the castle and the projection on the castle and the projection that everyone's doing on Main Street, they built intentionally water around the front of the castle, so you have water features. So it's kind of
like World of Color.
It's
so cool.
It's a little bit Phantasmic. It's a little bit World of Color, and then you add on drones to that, plus the lasers, and you're like, oh, this is going to be special. And so I really wanted to make sure that we had good locations, because I hate bad viewing for nighttime shows. Also, we had the privilege of watching most of our shows from really good locations at other parks, so we're very spoiled. So I was like, let's do it. I didn't know what it would be like to do that at International Park, but it was really crazy because we had to get there 30 minutes before the show, but no later than 10 minutes. You go to this like random area between Fantasyland and Adventureland, and then go on a very long, windy walk back to the front of the castle, where they don't really do a good job of telling you where to go. They love telling you to move forward, and you're like, no.
And then like you find a perfect spot, and then like these lady-come-latelys like just come and like try to get in front of you.
And so, like, it becomes a case study of, like, really grounding
you're
myself.
close enough where parents don't have to put their kids on their shoulders, because you could literally see from the viewing spot, like, you could see the castle, you could see the drones everywhere. Like, the only thing you can't see is, obviously, like, the projections on the buildings on Main Street way back, but it's like, why would you want to see that if you're, like, front row, you know, kind of seeing everything? But they do say that if it's super windy that day, more than likely the performances of the drones will be canceled, so they won't have their drones going on during the fireworks. And then, like, obviously same, if it rains, there's not going to be, like, fireworks. But yeah, it was awesome. It was literally the mashup of all of it, like the projections, fireworks, water, and the drones were super.
That was our first time finally seeing drones in a live, like, nighttime show, and like. And I'll like insert clips as we're talking about this, but like to see a rose in drones have petals that fall that then go into a projection image of rose petals falling is the coolest thing.
And the Bruno one, they had like the
hourglass.
I posted a short, but yeah, the hourglass that like turns and then the little sand grains fall.
And like they had
cool.
They had them spinning in like just a circular disc behind the castle at one point that really framed it nicely.
Let us know if you guys want us to upload just a video of the entire fireworks show. I have the entire thing also, so let us know if you want us to do that, because we were gonna just splice some things in with our vlogs, but I mean, we could just not monetize it and like have the music play, because that's the best experience, because like if we're just like inserting our own music over it, it's just not the same. But we can do that. It's fun.
Yes, and something that someone said in one of the vlogs that we were watching beforehand, they were like, if you sit in the nighttime at that area, you won't be able to see the drones well. And like, I disagree with that.
No,
like, I thought it was a perfect vantage point.
It's worth doing, I would say.
Just for this, like, because, like, also...
If it's your only time there, you know, I mean...
And for us, like, as I've gotten older and post-pandemic, like, I get a little bit more sensitive and, I don't want to say anxious, but, like, I get more uncomfortable when there's a lot of people around me. And at least this area gave me a little bit more space. We also made this choice of standing right at the lip of the curb. So, it gave us like a couple of inches above people, but it then also gave me a little bit more distance between people that gave me the like physical security that I needed to not feel overwhelmed. Yeah. Because like it can't, like when you're not used to being around crowds and crowds of hundreds of thousands of people, like there were a lot of people there. You look backwards and it was just a sea of people.
Yeah, and the show is pretty late. It's what?
10:40. And
there's only one, again. There used to be a studios show. I don't know if they still... I don't think they still do it, but they used to have like a drone show on the Hollywood...
Oh, the Marvel one. The Marvel drone show.
It might be only for special events, but yeah, it
comment below if you know.
Wasn't there when we were there. Number 3 is languages.
Bonjour, hello!
So, he was obnoxiously, like...
Merci!
Overly doing it so that people were speaking like French at him. I was saying thank you, and like, so people knew we spoke English, so like they would speak English to us. He was just like, merci, and then they were like, oh, oui, oui,
Wee!
So good. Yeah. But the reason we were putting this on is because we didn't know if cast members would speak English during meet and greets, if it was a like character that is actually a person that will talk back, if they're gonna like be in English, if some of the shows were gonna be, the songs were gonna be in English, but we found out for the most part all the attendants and stuff in line for the meet and greets spoke English, and they were like willing to like take our phones to take pictures. That will be in a different category, but like most of the meet and greets are the like
the masked characters where you're not actually talking to them,
but they pretty much understood English too. When we were in line to meet one of the Mystery Marvel ones, they asked us specifically English or French, and then the character spoke English to us. The Cinderella or the princess one like didn't do that, so like you could tell that the actor didn't know English that much.
Yeah, like
she was struggling a little.
And it doesn't help when I'm not asking easy questions.
Right. But they have cute little French accents, so it's like, oh, Loki with a French accent or Cinderella with an accent. But I think they purposely put well versed, like if you speak whatever language, like they put those cast members in the important areas, because 2 times it happened. We asked one of the like cast members that was just like sweeping, like, oh, do you know where this is? And she spoke no English. She had no idea what we were saying, and we were like, Moana? And then she kind of like helped, but we were just like, it's fine. And then like another time we asked a cast member that was kind of like just walking around something, and they didn't speak English at all. So it's like they seem to put the ones that speak English like in like the food areas.
Any really like guest service, like it's really hard, I can imagine, because we're so used to American parks, right? Like it's the only ones we've been to, and it's an English-speaking country. You forget in other, like, Europe that, like, there's so many cultures and languages coming together, from Portuguese to Spanish to Italian to French, that, like, I can imagine that would be hard. To be a poor cast member telling someone, like, please move up, and, like, trying to say it in every different language they can, and you have a bunch of people just confused. There were times that, like, I didn't know what was happening, but just based on, like, seeing where I was like, oh, we're all moving this way. Okay.
Yeah, and then, like, in ones that like are telling people to go to number 8 or go to number whatever. So they were saying it in French, and we were like, huh? And then like they
wait, and I was like, oh, I do though. That's 9. Or I was like,
okay, go to like 7 or whatever.
It made me think of like my like middle school French, like all deux trois quatre cinq six sept huit neuf, and I was like, merci neuf. I loved it. I got to speak with an accent.
The parades are music, so it's a mixture. You're going to get some of the French songs, some of the English. That, again, goes also with the fireworks. So, like, some of the songs were in French, some of them were in English.
The stage shows are fun though, like the Frozen show we saw, because it's not bilingual, but like if Tim and I were doing the scene together and like Tim's Anna and I'm Kristoff, like Anna would be like French, and Kristoff would be like, so what you're saying, Anna, is that we need to surprise Elsa at her ice castle by performing her a surprise, and you're like, oh, that's they like hybrided the language that way, so you were like. You kind of always knew. Also, like, the stories aren't that deep. So, like, you can pantomime follow along. Like, Anna's happy she saw Kristoff. Yeah. But like, and then they would reverse that little shtick where it would be like, French from Kristoff, and Anna would be like, oh, Kristoff, you're so silly by suggesting Sven take us.
So originally, like, I thought, like, the meet and greets, there was no way it was going to be in English. And then I was watching some videos, and they were actually speaking to them in English, and they were reacting and stuff. So that made me, like, a little bit more comfortable. Like, okay, I was like, okay, we could do more meet and greets, and, like, it'll be fine. Because, like, you don't want to wait in a big line for a meet and greet if, you know, they're not gonna understand you, or just say, oh, picture, is that a fine? Like,
I mean, Jessie, I think, was probably the hardest one. Jessie was just like, I'm a cowgirl.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. Those ones are different a little bit, because they always just kind of say, because, oh my god, I will never wear a shirt again that has words and characters, because literally every character was pointing at my shirt and I forgot what it said. Or no, I forgot that Gus Gus was on it. So like I thought they were saying, oh, it would said something about like being hungry or something. So like I thought they were like, and I was like, yeah, I'm well fed, and they like just stared at me. Like, I think they were saying, oh, Gus Gus, oh, we're friends with Gus Gus. And then I finally remembered when we met Goofy, and then he did the opposite. So I was like, oh, yeah, are you friends with Gus Gus? And I think he was wanting me to say, like, oh, I'm hungry or whatever. So just don't wear shirts that have a lot of words in it. Okay, so number 2 is food. So, we were looking at a lot of the restaurants because we wanted to like have sit-down places, not just like the
quick service.
Quick service.
Or like mobile order places.
Yeah. So we will say Chef Remy's was our favorite. They do have a lot of prefixed menu items there, so like not a lot to choose from. So, like, if you're a super picky eater, just be sure to look on the apps and look at the menus, because there was a lot of places that we really wanted to go, but then, like, it was, like, all fish or, like, just stuff we didn't want. Like, we were really sad because we wanted to eat inside of the Pirates of the Caribbean, but literally all of the food was, like, fish or, like...
And it was a prefix menu, spicy, so like it wasn't even like there were other options. I was like, oh, this isn't going to be pleasant.
So like be on the lookout for that.
The one thing about food that I'll say, and this is maybe something that just is a life lesson for me at even our American parks, is that like I normally stick to like the quick service and mobile order places or sit down restaurants. Like I don't normally go to like the carts where there's like 2 or 3 things only. However, what I learned is that most of the better food is at those places, or at least like, so it's like I do have to look at now all of the carts to see what are those like specialty items, how to get them and plan those out. So like that took a little bit more work and is actually something I just don't even do in our home parks that I'll probably start doing more.
Yeah, like we don't eat a lot when we go to the parks. It's just like we're focused on meeting characters, like doing the rides. It's like we don't snack really ever, which we should get better at, but
I'm not hungry. Like I don't like eating if I'm not hungry. And so like that's hard, is that when you're not hungry, and then like but you have to follow and eat like by the hours because of the hours that like things are open. So like the other thing is that like the food that I was used to getting at my resort at night wasn't there because they're, as we were saying earlier, they're not like the grab and go quick service stuff. They were like reservations. So that was gone. Also looking, we probably should have mentioned this at merch that Tim thankfully told me that he learned before we went there. But none of the stores sell sundry items or like the stuff that you would buy like in an airport, like like the Hudson News. Like if you needed like the wall of like mini toothpaste or like Tylenol or a comb or like
sunscreen.
Toiletries. Like none of that stuff sold in a gift shop, like the personal stuff, like or even personal healthcare items. And the snacks in the gift shops are like, they love a bugle.
Just like bags of chips.
And then like
all
some
they
chocolate.
had.
And you're like, okay, that's
Barely.
weird. So we had to combo using the downtown Disney resorts between the McDonald's, the Five Guys, plus comboing where we could buy waters at different places to have fresh water at night. So it did become a little bit more strategic than we're used to. I just think I expect, and I think that this is something I read after we got back, is that just Disneyland Paris's food just in general doesn't compete with American parks. Mm-hmm. And so like you're talking about theme park food in general, but then you're like talking about like it's fine.
Yeah, I will say though, like kind of off topic but on topic. So like at the where you shop, there is a McDonald's, so I would recommend checking it out because they do have a different menu than the US. So it's like they have cheese fries, they have little macaroons, they have, which we didn't get.
They have like their equivalent of like
goat cheese wrap.
Yeah, that was good. The goat cheese wrap was delicious. They also had in these like their signature burgers, a different burger. It's like not a Whopper, or it's not a Big Mac, it's not a McChicken, it's just its own unique thing. That was really good. They had unique beverages and McFlurries. And they're not really good at the customization though, because Tim's custom stuff was wrong, but it's a touch screen and you can do it every time.
Yeah, a lot of the restaurants in the Disney Springs are all touchscreens, so you don't have to talk to people, which is amazing.
The one thing about food that I'll say is that their equivalent of like the whatever the quick service restaurant in Tomorrowland is, that there is in Discoveryland that's better than ours, the Starport one, the Galaxy one or whatever, or whatever is that called?
It's called Galaxy something.
Yes.
Galactic Grill.
Yes, it's far better. The other thing about all of Disneyland Paris quick service restaurants and restaurants in general that I was very happy about was that there was plenty of seating. You know, if you go to Disneyland or World, we joke about eating off of trash cans all the time, but you do that thing where you have your tray, or you send to me like ahead at like the Pavilion by Pinocchio, and he holds down a table because you're like you never find one. I never felt that level of anxiety. No. Like you basically were like. We got breakfast and we looked one around the corner and there was just like beautiful seating area where like there was plenty of seating.
Even like when it's like that little food truck thing, kind of food truck vibe, and it's like you turn the corner and there's a bunch of chairs and stuff.
Yeah, like even when we got the McQueen's over there, like there was still seating. So like that was really nice to feel like, oh, I don't need to like eat off of a trash can or like walk like Universal like 5 miles through the park to find like a chair. Yeah. So that was really good.
All right, and we're down to number 1, which is PhotoPass / pictures.
Picture!
So like, the biggest one, like, blows my mind, is there is no photographer, like, Disney photographer, on Main Street to take your photo in front of the castle. So if you pay for the little PhotoPass thing, you're not going to get your photo in front of the castle. Like, you're going to have to ask someone to take it, or like, if you're with someone, they'll take a solo shot, but if you want together, you're going to have to ask a stranger to take it.
And like, it was so annoying because the app kept saying there's a magical photo moment over right there, PhotoPass. Never was there. Across all 5 days we were in the parks. Never saw someone there.
No. And in vlogs that I've watched, I've never seen anyone there.
If you are taking a photo of the castle, pro tip, go to the left. As you're looking at the castle, go to like the entrance to like the dragon, because there's a fence as it looks over the green to the mountain up to the castle, and because no one's behind that fence, you can stand in front of it and get a really nice picture without all the people walking, because it's really busy, as you know, if you've been to America.
So if you're gonna get the PhotoPass, they do actually have on the app where you see what characters are meeting, it will say PhotoPass photographer under the ones that have it, which we only saw with the Marvel one, Stitch, which we didn't get to meet.
We tried that one every day, and then virtual queue went out every day.
And then, like, surprisingly, like, when we got off of Crush's coaster, there was, like, this weird, like, Pixar kind of, like, background setup, and there was 2 meet and greets that had the PhotoPass there, but it wasn't listed on the app, so it was, like, really random. There was Jesse and Joy, which were part of that, but any other, like, where there's character meet and greets anywhere, like, they did not offer that. There was a cast member there, but, like, you had to give them your phone to take the photos. So, yeah, it was, like, not what we were expecting.
And especially because we are PhotoPass people, because we take advantage of using it, and like we love our picture in front of different things. Like I bought it because it was cheaper. I'm definitely glad I didn't buy it for like $80, like in the parks. I think I only got off by like paying $50, which is still high, but whatever. The thing to know about PhotoPass is that all of the attraction photos are included in the PhotoPass, but because their technology is like slightly behind like US culture, it's a little bit like really bumpy. So what you do is on like one of the attractions, they actually have it hooked up where if you go through the ride, you see your photo, you select it, you can scan your card, and it immediately puts it on through the barcode. Kind of like the way it happens.
But it's a separate card.
It's a separate card. It's not your regular card. So it's not like the Magic Band at or at Tower of Terror where you can put it up and get it. For any other attraction, like Pirates, or there was the other one, the Marvel one, if there is a PhotoPass, there's then like this station boost of like the people selling them. You have to go up to them and say like, "Hi, can you pull up my photo? 8990."
You have to look at the whole screen, find where you are, make sure you have that number to give them.
And then you say, "Can you put it on 8990?" And they're like, "Absolutely, merci." And then you hand them the card, they scan the barcode. But it's such a bumpy process.
Yeah.
That like, but it is weird because like the Marvel one and the Cinderella one, like the Marvel one, in addition to the photos, like they also do this like kind of gift thing, which was kind of cute. But I don't think that if we were to do it again, we would do it.
No, it's not worth it.
I mean, it's because again, we're so used to all of our meet and greets with them. Instead, you get a cast member who may not be paying attention. Specifically, the guy who is at the Max Goof photo could not be bothered to do his job. And the Jafar one was a little like off. That meet and greet was one of the weirdest ones I've ever done. Yeah. But like it was definitely different. And I think that there are also not that many rides with PhotoPasses. Like, there wasn't one on Haunted Mansion that I normally am used to one.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, no. But,
there wasn't the video for Hollywood.
Oh, yeah! And you don't get, like, you don't got none of the other videos.
Or was there?
No, I didn't there wasn't a Hollywood studio. The one with, like, the elevator, the thing. Yeah. No, there wasn't that. It was just the one photo. Mm-hmm. And I learned that you can't go back. So, like, let me just also say this. So when we checked into the hotel, they gave us this little receipt of like, "Oh, I saw you purchase PhotoPass. Take this to a gift shop." I didn't do it early enough, and I then forgot to do it, so this is maybe on me. But like, I tried to go get photos from the previous day, and they're gone. So like, it is a 24-hour cycle. So like, if you want to do it, you should do it on the first day or in advance, and like actually like activate it right away. Mm-hmm. Are we? Yeah.
That's it. I think so. I think we covered everything that was in our minds. If you have any tips that we missed, or if you have any specific questions, be sure to leave them in the comments. We will be more than happy to answer what we can.
The one thing I'll add as like 0.5 is that when we were watching, people were talking about smoke. And they were like, people can smoke in the park. And I was like, it won't be that bad. It's not, but like, even though there's a designated smoking area, the French Disneyland Park guests don't really respect that, and they'll just start smoking wherever. You're like, oh, it is true. I did. Like, it was just, or vaping, so just like heads up.
Oh yeah, vaping was.
They like love, but like, it just happens. So like, even though there's designated areas, just be mindful that it could happen anywhere.
Yeah. But it was a lovely trip. We had a lot of fun.
Totally. Loved it.
I believe our vlog and haul should be up by now, so check those out. Give this video a big thumbs up.
Yes, if you're not a subscriber to Disney-related content, be sure to hit that subscribe button to be notified of future videos. And if you are a subscriber, thank you so much for joining us, and we can't wait to see you in our next video. Until next time, take care and be well. Bye!
Wee wee.